Hi, this is Naomi with Sword Steel, and I hope you're ready to paint with me. Today I'll be showing you how I painted this black coach for Nighthaunt from Age of Sigmar. Mostly using contrast paints. As you can see, I kept the coach itself separate from the horses during the painting process, and there's one more thing. I couldn't decide between the Reaper Scythe and not Reaper Scythe, the Soul Reach Grasp. So I magnetized the piece that would give him a scythe or not give him a scythe, so I've got both pieces there. Now, before I get to painting, well, actual painting, there is one thing that I have to do first. This model has visible mold lines that I want to get rid of. So I'm going to use Vallejo plastic putty to fix up those mold lines. All of these intricate metal pieces, I'm going cast iron. It's a black coach, but I really like the wood. I'm going to make him a black coach with brown wood. Nice, fresh looking wood. And he's going to be black coach because he's going to have lots of black on him. It's just going to be, all the metal is going to be cast iron. And I think that'll look good. That's what I'm going with anyway. So I'm using Typhos Corrosion to start off the cast iron effect because it has mild texture to it. I only need mild texture for cast iron. If anyone has walked past cast iron gates or used a cast iron frying pan, there's a bit of texture, but you know, not much. And this should dry relatively quickly. I'm putting it on first because I want to see what all of this black looks like really quickly. That's good. Now, next part shall be, alright, so the cloaks. This is Basilicanum Grey contrast paint, and I'm just doing it on their cloaks. When using contrast paint, I look to work up to down. So that it'll move itself on downward anyway, since it's so liquidy. Then I can just scrape off the excess as I'm going down. So this army was originally painted as right when contrast paint came out, so I've learned a few things since then. I feel it'd be interesting to see the difference. So if you see that it is pooled very dark in one place, that is what it's going to look like when it's dry, and a little bit more so. So I'm happy where it's chosen to pool. But I'm taking it away here and there where I know it'll probably pool a little bit too much. Because all of this is pooling exactly where it's going to be, but the pool is going to increase a little bit. And now it's already drying, so I can't touch it anymore. I find using contrast paints super exciting, actually, because you have got to work fast. Spices things up. While that's drying, I think we can... Let's do the wood. The wood, which I think shall be... Yeah. I'm going to do an even mix of Cygor brown and Fyreslayer flesh. That shall be my wood color. Well, my initial wood color. Yes, I think this was the color I was going for. It's like a mahogany. My black coach is going to be mahogany and black coach. Whew. Well, that had a lot more surface area than I realized. That was intense. Alright, so here is the mahogany all done. Initially, anyway. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I am going to now do all the ghostly phantom parts in. I hope I have enough. Oh, I might need to get more. A contrast aethermatic blue. Again, I'm starting from the top and working my way down. One horse at a time. I'm not going to worry about his equipment getting this blue on it, because it's going to be I'm going to use a dark brown, or dark equipment, so this blue won't show up. Alright, so we have all of the ghosts done with aethermatic blue, and then these guys are also done in their ghostly blue. So I think I'll do all the black, Mecha pure black. If I were to paint it a second time, probably would do things in a different order, but as I'm figuring out the color scheme as I go, I'm choosing what is important for the appearance of it, instead of what's important for a ease of painting. Two different things. If anyone is interested, the paintbrush I'm using is one of the paintbrushes that Broken Toad gave me. I've been testing it out. This one, which is 0, it's a good standard brush. Not for the itty bitty details, but it can get really close. For the itty bitty details, I find I return to my favorite, the Masterclass. Here we are with all of the black done. For this guy. And I was just a little bit of black on these here. So the very next thing I'm going to do are the two metals, which again were, I'm going to try out plate metal, male metal with by army painter, and I'm going to use brassy brass, both of which I'm going to have some sort of rust effect on after that. And yeah, let's do that. Alright, now I'm just going to move on to my smaller brush, my Army Painter Klinsky Masterclass, to do these bitty details. Say soft metal. I think I'll wash it in Nuln Oil before I use the rust effect. Bring it into a darker metal. It feels good. It goes on very smoothly. This plate metal mail, plate mail metal. It's very medium silver. Not dark, not super bright. Medium. Or medium to light. Maybe I'll make it a bronze goblet. Alright. Gonna do all the little skulls. This bronze. Because they're so tiny though, I think I shall scoot some Cygor brown into their eyes to really pick out those sockets. Now, details might not be, it might not come out too clearly now, but it will. The next thing, I have to decide on you, and you, and you. The leather straps are going snakebite leather. Not certain if I'm gonna like that color or not, but we'll see. Might be a bit too... Can always wash it. This brush is the Broken Toned #1, and it's really great for picking up. This feels like a really great contrast paint brush, actually. It picks up a lot, but it keeps a really nice point, so you have a lot of control. Right, now that I've got the first layer on, I'm just gonna mess it up a bit, so it doesn't look so clean with more layers of it. This is where you'll be able to see how nicely this brush works. Alright, time to do something a bit tricky now. The ghostly colours, I've decided I'm going to go with a mix. I'm going to go part Talosar blue, part Apothecary white, Shaiish purple, and part Astra Militarum grey. Blend that all together, starting with this mix of the blue, the purple, and the white on these horses. We want it all to be quite wet while working on this, so we have to go fast. Right, so that should be good for the horses. So there they are, and now going to continue that on here. Just brings a bit of depth to their spookiness. It's a bit better now that that's dry, or now that that's done. Just going to finish up the horses now that I've got the general appearance that I want. It's just going on the underside, anything that's like in general pointing down or is the bottom half or would be in shadow because of what they're wearing. That sort of thing. As you saw, I didn't properly mix any of this because it's not what I was really going for, properly mixed. It's more spooky if it's all the colors are not properly combined, where there's more purple here, more blue there. I think that works well. Give you a better look, probably here. Don't know how well you can see it, but here we go. Oops. Much more spectral. There it is. Black coat coming along. I finally decided on what I'm going to do the curtains. A nice banana yellow plus the either the yellow or the orange. I think I'll go with Greyhound orange. I'm good with that, actually. So let's try that. And getting the inside, which I probably will just leave this orange since it'll all be in shadow. Here's what it looks like from a distance. Thus far. Here we are again. The curtains are a bit too orange yet, so I'm gonna add some more yellow. And now I'm going to put null oil on all of the silver and oxide on all of the bronze, and then a little bit, just a little bit of rust after the null oil has dried on the silver. First things first, let's bring this closer to yellow. Right. Null oil first. This will give a nice depth to the metal and some age, dirt, wear. It'll also make it darker. So keep that in mind when you're using it. It will darken it down. That's alright, because if we want to, kind of depends on the final look, we're going to darken it up again. Or, we're going to brighten it up again with some dry brushing, maybe. Did you know that old mahogany looks much the same as new mahogany? Works for me. At least that's what Google showed me. Old mahogany. I found a few old mahogany things, like an old mahogany boat, actually. And a boat would definitely have gone across done the same amount of wear that this black coach would have done. And it's like lighter in some places, darker than other places. So I'll just keep that in mind when I do the dry brushing. I'll dry brush it unevenly, and I should get a very nice effect. Now, right oxide. Our technical paint by Citadel Nihilac oxide. I find you can control this if you don't have a lot on your brush very easily. It doesn't particularly want to move from where you put it, so that's handy. Let that dry. In the meantime, I'm going to mix some primer, the Ivory primer, with my ghostliness and highlight the ghostliness, you know, in areas where it didn't quite look right, and melding it together to make everything look a little bit more ghostly. Right, rust. Can't imagine I'll need very much of this. Shoot. Let's get you all painted up. I'm just going to go Cygor brown for the handle. Rust. Much the same as the oxide, the rust is going to stay where you put it. And I do not feel like you need much for it to have its effect. It can be a mild effect or a really strong effect. All depends on how much you put on. Next we're going to add the Basilicanum Grey to his cloak. I decided to I'll make him the same. Keep the spotlight off him as much as it was, with him being different, I think. And we're going to add another layer of Basilicanum Grey to the other ghosts, just to emphasize the effect, emphasize their cloaks a bit. So for this, I'm going to go ahead with the same silver metal. I'll make this a black whip, but of course it's not cast iron, so I won't be using Typhos Corrosion on it first, and I might let's see what it looks like after that. So the whip shall be that. The two lanterns, I haven't figured out what color I want them to be yet. They're gonna be last after every other detail is done. For the coffin, in there. I like the contrast for such a light colored coffin, but of course it doesn't look right. I'm thinking I'm going to make it look like a marble coffin. And I'm going to do that by mixing Nuln Oil with the contrast paint Apothecary White. Okay, so we're going to do 2 drops of Apothecary White, 2 drops of Nuln Oil, give it a messy swirl, and lay it on there. If I were to do another one of these, I would assemble this part with all of the ghosts, but definitely keep it separate so I could get at the coffin more. But this brush is very good. It keeps to its point, and as long as I'm careful, it won't hit anything but where I want it to actually go. There it is, completely covered. There's just one thing else I'm going to do though. I'm going to grab Nuln Oil by itself, my thin little masterclass, and do some swipes, just here and there. Accentuate that marbleized effect that I'm going for. So I'm going to try on the book. Skeleton Horde should be a nice old booky look. If I could open it. This is just the pages of the book. And I'll let that dry before I do the wash for the other one, which means I now can use... Alright, Wildwood mixed with Skeletal Horde. Let's do that. Might just look like snakebite leather, but let's just make it overly complicated. I think while I have that mix of Apothecary White and Nuln Oil, I'll put it down on this tombstone down here. That should be enough time for that amount of contrast paint to dry. Now I'm going to go with Volupus Pink with some Nuln Oil. Nuln Oil and Volupus Pink to dull it down to a darker burgundy. Right, and black. Okay, well, what do we have to do now? Okay, so next I'm doing the wood. I'm going to use Crag Brown, like this. I'm not watering it down as I'm using it. I want to keep it actually fairly dry. Yep, I call it dry. Edge highlighting. This is going to accentuate all the wood edges, which have gotten more worn down. If the paint does get so dry that it doesn't come off the brush anymore, I just wash out my brush and get more of the paint. This is a layer paint, so it's a thicker paint. This is still the one size brush by Broken Toe. If I want any specific wear now, thin out the paint and grab my very nice pointed brush. Add a bit of wear. Right. Happy with that. Now, to do these, just about time to put these two pieces together, but lanterns first. Oh, actually, one more thing. This guy, this ribbon, I don't think I want to do it the same yellow. That'd just be too much. So I'm going to do it a dark red-ish, just because. Here I mixed Vallejo's fluorescent green with some of my yellow mixture and just laid it on all over the lantern and all over the race back where I thought the light might reflect. And then after that I used Hex Wraith Flame, a technical paint by Citadel, to put a little bit more green all over it. I realized at the very end that the curtains were just a bit too clean, so I mixed up about 2:1 ratio of Apothecary white contrast with Flesh Tear's red contrast, put that onto the end pieces of the curtain in a rather blood-like looking fashion. And then in some little areas I added just Flesh Tear's red, but I also used the same paintbrush to flick a little bit of blood here and there to give that blood splatter effect. All done! When I did the base I used a dark earth texture by Vallejo and added in some random rocks that I had, as well as once it all dried I actually added some Army Painter tufts here and there, and I covered some areas over with Nuln oil over top to give it a variety of color, and also dull down some of the grasses. I'm happy with how he turned out. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you were painting along while I was painting in the video, do let me know what you were painting. I'd love to know what people are painting out there. I'm happy. Thanks for watching. Bye!